Yeah, they have it.
Sure do. School. Good. What's that? School. You start back? Oh, yeah, kicking my butt.
That's
It always
really
does. I mean,
You started back already?
I started back on Thursday. So this is my 5th day. But what I'm telling you, like, I've already, in just 5 days alone, I've learned 7 classes. Yeah. 30, 31. At least. 37.
Pretty good. All right. Okay, we're going to call to order the Leechburg Area School District Public Work Agenda Setting Board Meeting here at the Leechburg High School Library at 6:36 p.m. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Darius, I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay. Okay. An executive session was conducted prior to the public meeting at 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call, please. Thank you.
Ms. Watt? Here. Mr. Brady? Here. Mrs. Knight? Here. Mr. Lopez? Here. Mr. Lockley? Here. Mr. Pauls?
Here.
Ms. Rankin?
Here.
Ms. Stewart?
Here.
Mr. Townsend?
Here.
Okay, an executive session was conducted prior to the public meeting at 5:30 p.m., January 14, 2026, in the Leechburg Superintendent's Office to discuss legal issues, contracts, personnel, and board relations. Next, we have up our celebration of students with the student representative report with Chelsea Tennemeyer.
Good afternoon. I'm just going to be talking about some of the recent events that have happened since last meeting and some upcoming ones. So the first one was the Sanders Workshop. It was run by Miss Freddie, and it took place the week before Christmas break. It was where all the elementary and some classes of middle school students got to go and shop for Christmas gifts for their families. Most of these items were donated by friends and family of Miss Freddie and some other people throughout the community. And then another event was the concerts that took place. The first one being the middle and high school band concert on December 12th. And then a few days later, the middle and high school choir concert had their winter concert on the 18th. And then the last day before Christmas break, some students had reindeer games. That's where all the middle and high school students get to pick which activity they want to do for the day, like crafts, watching a movie, playing games. And the main game that took place in the gym that day was basketball. That's where high school students got to create teams and play in a tournament against each other. And then the next upcoming event is on January 24th, and it's the Elks National Hoop Shoot free throw contest, and that takes place in the high school gym. And lastly, for the week of February 2nd, the National Honor Society will host Change Wars. They're still figuring out which charity that they want the proceeds to go to, but they know it's going to be set up by homeroom, and whichever homeroom teacher has the most change wins. And that's pretty much it until next month. So
Thank you so much, Chelsea.
thank you. Of course.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge too the signs that the students made and these certificates. Very, very nice. So you can pass that along. Thank you so much. Next, any public comment on agenda items? No? Okay. Okay, next we're going to move on to the capital improvement presentations for Eric Petrazio and McClure Company.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all again. I remember a couple of you from previous meetings. For those that I've never met, my name is Eric Petrazio. I'm an account executive at McClure Company. McClure Company is the energy service company for the district. We've done 2 projects with the district over the last 4 or 5 years, and this evening we have a document that outlines potential scopes of work which the district could undertake for a phase 3 of the energy savings projects. So the document in front of you is fairly large. I don't want to take too much of your time. So we can just kind of flip right into it. If you go past the agenda page on page 3, you can get to the project history. The previous projects that we did with the district kind of outlines exactly what was done there. I don't want to belabor it, but like I said before, it was a $2.9 million project and a $1.85 million project that saved the district approximately $1.03 million over term. So that's excellent.
How long was the term for that?
20 years, sir.
20 years.
Correct. Yep. So as we get into the project, you can see on page number 4, we've outlined exactly what are the scopes of work that we have as part of this phase of work. Like phase number 1, we have more roofing work. We also have windows and door replacements, district-wide restroom upgrades, exterior facade upgrades, exterior brick restoration, and then site repair, stairs, loading dock, and wall restorations around the building. So as we get into it, the district operates on 9 different sets of gang-style restrooms throughout the building. As you flip from 5 to 6, you can see the location of these bathrooms on each of the floors. And the high school continues through 7, 8, 9. And then on page 10, we start to identify the actual upgrades to the specific bathrooms. Because there is ADA accessible bathrooms, we're going to try to keep the same exact footprint of these bathrooms because there exists ADA on each floor. So we're able to be grandfathered in with some of those locations. We will try to upgrade to as much ADA accessibility as possible. Due to the size of some of the bathrooms is a significant challenge. But because you do have ADA bathrooms on each floor, that does allow you to keep those bathrooms and upgrade while taking into account the current space requirement of those areas. Any questions? Okay. You can just continue to flip through 11, 12. There's just more examples of the bathrooms that we have. 13 is the high school gymnasium. And then on page 14, you can begin to see the Baker Building restrooms. So in the Baker Building, we've outlined the restrooms here. I believe there are 2 sets of restrooms in the building. You can see on page 15 the examples of those bathrooms, and on 16 again. A lot of these bathrooms are of different vintages and different timelines, so they have completely different fixtures. There's not a lot of uniformity within those bathrooms. The goal will bring them up to a uniform standard that would standardize the color of these bathrooms and really help the kids on those floors to experience a sense of pride when they're using the restrooms. You can see an example on 17 of some of the restroom upgrades that we've done recently. This is very similar to the style that we would look to implement, maybe not the color scheme, but as you can see, tile up the wall 5 feet with new heat registers, with new partitions, with new flooring, with new ceilings. They'll implement low flow, all commercial grade. We would install mirrors, partitions, grab bars, any ADA compliant hardware. As we move to page 18, we can then see the additional roofing. On this phase of work, we've identified 28,500 square feet of roofing, as well as the mansard on the tall section of the building If you flip to 19, you can actually see the outline of the building. The highest roof that you have has a mansard around it. We would try to style that very similar to the seam roof wall on Siberian Avenue that is on the outside of the building here. We've included all the roofing on page 20 that would then bring the building back up into good condition with all the roofs. So you can see the areas highlighted in yellow. The areas of green were recently replaced. And then the existing conditions remain is in good condition. And you can see that that is installed in 2018 there in section number 4 and 5. And then in section number 1, I'm looking, let's see section 1 on there, but maybe it's too small.
Baker Building.
Correct, yep, Baker Building, sorry about that. As we go to the next ECM, we've looked at all the EIFS or drive it that is on the exterior of the building, and that's all the coating. It's not the masonry walls. You can see examples of that coating or that drive it on there. The drive it typically lasts between 25 and 30 years. I am not sure how old this is. I couldn't go back and find it. I'm assuming it's older than that just due to the condition of it. It's cracking, it's popping. There's a lot of mildew growth on those walls. You could see the example there of the walkway to the Baker Building where the seams, or the Baker Building where the seams are beginning to fail on it. So what we've proposed is a potential EIFS solution, which would implement a new facade. We would then put a coating on that facade with a water-resistant barrier. And then you have an option of different sheathings that could go on the outside. So we've built in 4 options here for you. The first one is a 24 steel gauge panel. The second is an aluminum panel. The third is a Tejo Kata system. And then the fourth is the Latitude metal cladding. Each of these is a step up from the one previously, but they all would provide a very aesthetic finish for the outside of the building. I've provided administration with different colors and different styles of it, so you can choose and pick whatever you'd like. As we move on to the next one, we have the doors and windows. Windows and doors throughout the building are in poor shape. A lot of the windows are broken out. Some of the windows are actually screwed into the building. You can see just the different examples of broken windows and old window frames throughout the building. So we would recommend a replacement of all these doors and windows. You can see on 25 is an example of doors and windows we've done. And actually the picture at the bottom of 25 is one of those style systems that I just talked about on the outside of the building. So you can see this district here, I believe it's Keystone School District, actually had, instead of EIFS, they had a concrete panel wall that looked like a pebble stone that was falling off, very similar to yours. We went back in with that metal cladding system.
Are most of the windows second floor, or
I'm sorry, sir?
are most of the windows second floor windows?
They're throughout the building, the windows are, sir.
All the first floor windows, I mean, we did those.
Yeah, we did before, right, yeah.
Yeah, every first floor window is good.
It's good.
Second or above.
Second or above, correct. Yeah, we had subcontractors walk the building and give us scopes on that. So yeah, correct. As we flip to the next section, 25 or 26, you can see some of the proposed exterior door upgrades. Some of the doors are in rough shape. They get a lot of salt damage. They take a lot of abuse of people coming in and out of the building. And we would look to upgrade them to provide an exterior appearance as well as a continued safety in the building. As we look to 27, we've included a brick restoration for the masonry facade around the building. We see areas of moist mortar deterioration, spalling, staining, water infiltration, and age sealant and flashing. So what we would do is essentially go throughout the building on all that masonry, repoint, resurface, and refinish all of that. So it would brighten the appearance of that and actually save the outside of the building from falling off. That's areas of brick. And then on 28, we come into the site repairs, which is the stairs, loading dock, and the wall restoration around the building. We start at the Baker Building, which is the 2 pictures on the top left. You can see that's the loading dock at the bottom of the hill there. It's taken a lot of abuse over the years because of salt damage. And then to the right of that is the stairs. That wall is actually starting to lean in. And then the stairs around the sides of the building. If you flip to the next page, we've developed a matrix very similar to the previous ones, where you can see we've outlined all the different ECMs. with the estimated project cost and the potential energy savings. As we go 1, 2, and 3, you then would select either 4A, 4B, 4C, or 4D, and then 5 and 6. The project that will be built here today incorporates 4A, which comes in slightly under $8 million with an energy savings of $453,000. The majority of the energy savings that you're going to get from this would be essentially tightening the building up. Right now, a lot of the windows and the facade and the roofing, obviously you're losing a lot of your heat load and your cooling load in the building because of that. If we go to the next page, we talk about the process. Essentially, since you've done multiple phases of this work, you would do it just like we did last year, where you would amend the contract to incorporate a phase 3, amendment 2, depending on whatever scopes of work you wanted to do. We tried to make all of these as a la carte as possible because unlike a traditional mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system, there's not a lot of overlap, right? There's not a lot of areas that leak into other areas. We've really identified these a la carte. The goal would be to have a project under contract with the district potentially by the end of February if possible, so we can start getting the subcontractors lined up, getting the materials lined up. Some of the items like the roofing could be a little longer lead items as far as some of the metal fasteners, and with the facade items. A lot of the other things would have to be done in phases like restrooms. We wouldn't want to bring all the restrooms offline at once. We would look to address that systematically over time. Is there any questions? I know I've given you a lot here.
Yeah, I'll ask another one. Is project management included in this?
Yes, sir. This is a turnkey project I have here, so all costs are included. Yep.
Okay. And it has all the software for the updated with all the actions included in there too for the project management?
Everything is included, correct, turnkey. So there's no additional cost, no change orders. The price is locked in when I give it to you, and the savings are as well. Just
Right.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just including that project management would be weekly meetings with the people such as Jake and with our facilities manager, with Matt.
Correct, yep, correct. Yep, we wouldn't miss a beat with that. And I would think that the administration would echo just how the project went last year with constant meetings and updates, so they're aware of what's
Yeah,
going
they were on site throughout it.
Yeah.
So you would plan to start this as soon as possible with the restrooms with students in here?
We would want to definitely start as soon as possible. And there's a lot of restrooms there with 18 restrooms total. We would essentially want to block off the area so no one could get into it. We would try to work second shift, obviously, when no one's in the building. But that no one would be able to access that area while we're there, correct? Yep. And just like previously, all the subcontractors have all of their clearances and all of their requirements for working in schools. So we would provide that just like we did in the last phases to the districts, so you'd have that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So included in that number one in the phase 3 matrix, the 18 restrooms are like $2.5 million.
Correct. That's all those restrooms built in. Yep. If the district would come back and say, hey, we only want to do 6, we would then have to reprice it, taking in general conditions and the cost of the individual ones. But we built it all under one.
Does this include the locker room restrooms as well?
It does not include the locker room restrooms. It includes, so if you go back to the maps, it actually shows you where the restrooms are, and we can talk about that one there.
Yeah, I see that one there that's on the opposite side of the gymnasium.
Correct, yeah, that's the public.
The public one. Okay.
Are there
Is there a reason just for completion's sake that we're not doing the locker
We're just
room?
looking to try to
Sure.
prioritize what we had on there. They were nowhere near capacity. They will think through the long term of, and that's we've had conversations. Is this a 3-phase thing where we do 8 restrooms in 1 year and 8 the next year? So we get that, and someone puts some through here, someone funding that, that's the conversation we'll have as a group, and if our next presentation is going, how we pay for what and what fits into that scope as we do that. So part of the, with the public,
And is there specific detail, like in a restroom, what's included in that $2.5 million, all the pieces and parts for each restroom, and
Yes,
and
sir.
so forth? And then what if you're running into any plumbing issues? Is there any?
It's us.
So anything from a plumbing that standpoint also, if we have to?
Correct, yeah. When we take the project on, we own total responsibility of the completed project.
Without any additional cost?
Without any change orders, correct, yep. For example, say we get in there and, all the
Pipes are
piping
bad.
runs are bad, right? Or we get into the wet wall and, geez, this pipe's all got to be replaced. We're going to do that. We can't come back and say, oh, we didn't know about it. If it's
Okay.
related to our scope, we're not allowed to provide a change order.
So there shouldn't be a lot of change orders.
There will be none. There never has been one. I've never issued a change order in my entire career. Now, if you
great.
ask me to do one, I'll do one for you. For example, if you say, hey, will you do this as well? I can do that, but I can't go give you one.
And Mr. Brady, just to add to that, the truck that we did with the boilers, part of that package was part of a grant we had written that we didn't get, they didn't get any school facility. There's a new one up, we talked about the old one, and all those quotes matched up with what we paid. So we had 3 quotes on all that, on everything, and it all matched up, which was my check and balance of what we're doing.
Yeah.
and spending on the correct thing.
So if there's a change order for reduction in price, we'll take that then.
One thing I do want to mention, just in general to the school board, is the facility improvement grant is open again. Any work that's done before the grant is awarded will not be covered under that grant. So any work potentially this summer won't be covered, but any work potentially for next summer that you may hold on to and apply for the grant could be applied to that as long as you haven't purchased it yet, if you will. So if there's work, okay, yeah,
I think that's fine.
okay. So we're more than willing to continue to provide assistance on that application as well. I just wrote 3 of them today. Any other questions? I don't want to take too much more of your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
If you
you so
guys
much.
need anything at all, I'm always available. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Okay, Michael McKay, Raymond James, Anthony Dicka, and Dinsmore and Scholl LLP, bond council presentation.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. My name is Mike McCaig. I'm with Raymond James. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. It is hard for me to imagine that it was 2017 that it was the last time I was in front of this board, and a lot has happened since then, as you are more aware than I am. With me this evening is Anthony Dicka from Dinsmore and Scholl. He is bond counsel, and I'll just start things out here, and he can pick up as we go. The question that I would think that all of you sitting in the chair that you're in right now is, you've just heard about all the work that you need to have. How are you going to pay for it? And that's what we're here to talk about this evening. I have prepared that matrix based on some conversations that we had with your administration. I don't mean it to be an eye test, so I also brought some. So back in 2017, Leechburg Area School District did their last bond issue, and that is the only debt that the district has. The remaining debt service on that particular bond issue is in column 2. And this is what you budget for every year when you do your budget. The line item for principal and interest is, let's just call it $510,000 a year. And it is level, so it's slightly different every year, plus or minus a couple $1,000 because bonds are issued in $5,000 denominations, but it's effectively $510,000, and it goes out through fiscal year ended 2044. So this is what you have as we sit here today. Your superintendent and business manager asked us to put together 4 scenarios for your consideration, just to give you a feel for how much it would be to, what the payments would be for certain scenarios that you just heard from Eric about. And obviously we could put together 20, 30, however many scenarios you want, but this is considered, or we're considering this to be a starting point. The first thing you'll notice is we don't have any debt service anything that you would do moving forward, you would not have anything due in fiscal year 2026. So rest assured, that even if we moved as quickly as we could, you would not have any payments in 2026. There would be a step up in 27 for all the scenarios, and then it would max out in 28. Under state rules, under the DCD and the Local Unit Government Debt Act, debt payments must be level or declining. So in other words, you can't have payments that increase, say in 2032 or 33. They have to be level on a composite basis. And that is what this scenario does. It might look a little bit odd if you look at it on its own, but what we're doing is called a wrap. And what a wrap does is it takes your existing debt service, and I'll get to, you may have a refinancing opportunity with those 2017 bonds, where interest rates, we're just gonna have to wait and see about the timing, but there is a strong possibility of refinancing that debt and saving some money. But this does not show that. So this is kind of the base scenario. So if you were to borrow each of these scenarios, whether it be, if you follow it right along, 2 million, 3.5, 4.5, or 7.5, this would be the new payment that you have. So let's just concentrate on the far right since it's the biggest number. If you were to borrow $7.5 million for all the projects that were presented, what would happen is what you would need to budget for would be an increase of nothing in 2026, and I'm in column 9. You would have to have an increase to your budget of $350,000, and then it would top off at $522,000. This would be a 20-year borrowing based on 20 years after the completion of the project. So we're kind of keeping it to a 20-year term. If you put together column 9 and column 2, you'll notice that it's level all the way out. Now, it looks a little funny if you go down column 9, you'll notice it jumps from 519,000 to $1 million, and on its own, that looks odd. But when you put that together with the fact that your 2017 bonds are dropping off, when you put the two together in column 10, it's level all the way out. So that is what we're looking at right now. These are interest rates as of today. Interest rates, can move up or down until they're actually locked in. Once the bonds are sold and locked in, these are fixed rate bonds. So the payments, just like your 2017 bond issue, will never change throughout the life. The only time they might change is if you refinance it down to a lower interest rate. There's no mechanism or no opportunity for the rates to change once they're locked in. I know that this is really very new. You have a lot of questions about the process. And I want to be cognizant of time, so maybe I could stop and answer some questions.
Yeah, just, I guess my information, just repeating what you said. So columns 4, 6, 8, and 10 is the additional bond indenture that we would have for this project. And then it's added on to our existing one at all times. So,
Yes.
so we go, so we're adding, like, if we just did the 2 million, we got the 513 plus the 82 for the new work that's being done for 2 million, for 7 million. It would be done there. So we just have to have column 2 in to all those areas to get a total picture of what we're spending.
Yes, that is correct. And I did neglect to say, you can see the interest rates going across the top. It is really not a bad time to be borrowing. I tend to say that it feels like rates are a little higher than probably what they are, just because when we were during COVID, rates were down at 2%. But you'll be able to borrow money in the low to mid 4%, depending on your term. And the only reason why the interest rates are different is because there's fixed rates on a bond fixed expenses on a bond issue, and if you spread that out over more principal, it kind of lowers the borrowing rate on an overall basis, kind of a weighted average thing. So, for example, if you borrowed $2 million, you'd be at 460. If you borrowed 7.5, you'd be at 430. Again, that would be locked in at the time of the sale of the bonds.
And plus it's tax-free money, right?
It is tax, it is the interest on the bonds is tax exempt to the buyers, and that's why the interest rate is nice and low
Right.
to Leechburg Area School District. Exactly right. So in terms of some of the process that needs to happen, we would, first of all, there's no rush or anything like that. The first thing that you're going to want to do is determine what amount that you're going to want to borrow. And assuming that you have a project and you do want to borrow, there's some other things that we can do at the same time to keep things moving along. But that's probably the biggest thing, is to determine what the scope of the project is. And then from there, there's some steps that we need to take. We need to get a rating of the school district. We need to get everything ready to sell the bonds. We'll come back to you. I'll let Anthony talk about what you'll be considering under a debt ordinance. But in terms of timing, if you said to go right now, we could probably have money in the bank for you sometime in April, early April would be the timing on the bond issue. But as I said, the most important thing is for you to consider the scope of the project, in my opinion.
Yeah. What's our rating right now on our current fund issue?
Your rating is A2, which is a very good rating. And we'll have, there'll be plenty of buyers of the bonds out there. I think
they let me go last because everybody loves to hear from their lawyer. My name's Anthony Ditka, and I'm in from Dinsmore and Scholl. We have been your bond counsel for 15 years at this point. But as Mike said, it's been a while since we've been here. So this is going to be a new process, I think, for all of you. So the resolution that you have on your agenda now is a short one. It's one page. It is just authorizing the team, myself and Mike, solicitor, to get to work on this. It does not bind you to a project. It does not bind you to a dollar amount. It says, go get us prepared so that when you make that decision, we can take the next step. So tonight is kind of a no muss, no fuss kind of resolution. But what would come next is anytime a local government in Pennsylvania, that's a school, township, borough, county, wants to borrow money, you have to follow the protocols of the Local Government Unit Debt Act. The Local Government Unit Debt Act is a procedural statute. No one at the state level is going to invade your discretion and tell you what you should borrow, what you shouldn't, how you should prioritize spending your own money. But they do want to make sure you're following certain steps in order to make sure the public is well informed and that you're doing all the things necessary to make sure your bonds are enforceable. So the reason you have someone like me, the reason you have bond counsel is when you are going to issue public bonds, you invoke three different areas of law. You invoke state law, that's the Local Government Unit Debt Act. You invoke federal tax law. If your bonds are going to be tax exempt to the buyers, you need to get someone like me to give an opinion that they're tax exempt. And you get federal securities law, which is important to Mike and his firm because you're going to offer these out to the public. So that seems like a lot, but I tell you all that because when you are ready for the next step, when you've determined how much you want to borrow, that resolution that I would bring to you is long. It's not a page, it's like 40 pages because it covers all of those things. And in a nutshell, it does this. It authorizes your bonds and pledges your full faith, credit, and taxing power to the payment of the bonds. Again, School districts, you don't have an oil well or a gold mine out back. Your revenues come from tax dollars, and that's what you're pledging to pay back your bonds. It authorizes the sale of the bonds to Raymond James, where Mike works, and he will place them with that wider universe of holders. You know, if your bonds go out 20 years, 21 years, you're going to have a wide group that's interested in buying your bonds. It might be people who have kids who are off to college, you know, and they're going to buy a bond so that the tuition is there when they need it in a few years. It could be insurance companies. It could be mutual funds. It could be all kinds of folks who are interested. Mike is going to take care of that for you. It fixes the terms and interest rates and things for your bonds. Now, it might be that we're creating a not to exceed resolution. We're going to say we're going to issue bonds that fall within these parameters, and we'll set targets and we'll fall within. Most importantly, though, it will authorize your officers, president, vice president, secretary, to do all the things necessary to close on the issue. So that resolution, whenever you're ready for it, will be one-stop shopping. It will be the only official action this board has to take to issue 2, 3.5, 5, 7.5, whatever you choose, $1 million. And the last thing it authorizes me to do your filing with the state, the Department of Community and Economic Development. So here's the timing on that. I heard Eric say that, you know, if you were to sign a contract with McClure in February, and you've chosen the scope of your project, and I'm not telling you you should, I'm just saying that's for argument's sake, if you're ready to go in February, your February meeting, where I'd be concerned, is the 11th, I believe. If you were ready that soon, I'd bring that resolution to you. We'd have to advertise 3 days in advance in your local paper a summary of that resolution that I would prepare for you, and we would publish so that the public can see what you're voting on. If you vote favorably on the 11th, I run another ad that tells the public, do you remember what I summarized for you? The board voted affirmatively on it. We would take proofs of publication of those 2 ads, a signed copy of your resolution, a statement you are within your borrowing capacity, which you absolutely are, and I'll explain that in a second. And we package it up and send it to the state for that approval, which takes a minimum of 20 days. So when Mike tells you, if you were ready to go right now, if you told us start marching right now, April is your date, it's because we have to accomplish all of those things, plus market and sell the bonds. So again, our timing is your timing. You tell us what you would like to do, and we will be ready. We could be ready as early as February 11th for that big resolution, but it could be March, it could be April. Whenever you tell me March, I will march. So real quick, borrowing capacity. Your borrowing capacity is determined this way, and this is for every school district in the Commonwealth. You take your last 3 years' revenues, take the average, multiply it by 2.25. You only have the one debt issue outstanding that Mike made. You've got plenty of capacity. I'm not saying that you should borrow all that. I'm saying you can. Understand. So even to get to this point, I will tell you it has been great working with Jake and David. I've known Joe for some time. So we can be up to speed in a hurry. You just tell me when to go. That's as short as I can make this. So if you have questions, let me know.
Well, I mean, money wouldn't be ready for April, so we couldn't start construction unless McClure would say, okay, we'll do it, if they know we're getting a bond issue and we'd have to pay the interest on any.
We wouldn't charge interest on the initial payment, sir.
So you'd wait for us to get the money to pay you.
Correct.
Thank
You
you.
got it.
Thank you so
We'll wait
much.
to hear from you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good. All right, moving on to board committee reports. We have the Aaron Intermediate Unit Report by Ms. Stewart.
We did not meet in December, and we're scheduled to meet. We're scheduled to meet next Tuesday, so I'll have something to report in February.
Perfect, thank you.
Uh-huh.
The Lenape Monthly Report, Mr. Lovelace and Mr. Leppish. Okay.
We just nominated, members for our board. They have to be filled out and, the results for our president and president and treasurer, everything.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. The Armstrong County Tax Collection Committee report, Mr. Brady?
No meeting.
No.
I don't think it's been a meeting for 5 years, has it?
The PSBA Member Liaison report by Mr. Paulus.
I'm not currently getting the emails. I'm not sure. I talked to Dr. Keeler about this. We're not sure if we're not set up in the system the correct way. We're going to be looking into that. So I haven't gotten an email since December 15th, and there's nothing updating based off that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Should we wait for Dave, or you think he's all right? No, let's keep good. Okay, under administrative reports, we have Dr. Vargo.
Good evening. Just to give you some updates of what's going on in the high school and middle school and kind of what we're doing kind of moving forward here. So Mrs. Silvis in her applied chemistry class, some of the projects that she's been doing. So students, what they were doing, they were researching 2 elements to create a classroom resource periodic table, as well as design and construct a 3D model of one of the elements. They're going to hang that in the classroom to highlight the atomic structure and bonding properties. In Mrs. Bonicki's class, the 6th grade students, prior to break, they designed and constructed a model igloo using marshmallows. So it was a STEAM project. They used toothpicks as well. And part of that was to apply some of the general knowledge and structural knowledge that they learned about prior to the project to create that stable dome structure. And then they were given a criteria to meet with those designs. Mr. Hooks, for his history classes, both honors and regular ed, for 1 and 2, they're going to be having midterms coming up here in January, so that'll be next week. I'm sure everybody's excited about that in those classes. I'd like to congratulate Angeline Klingensmith. She was chosen as the Leader Times Teen of the Week. So in the building in general, we're wrapping up the 9 weeks. That the last day is tomorrow, and that will also be the semester flip. So kids will be moving to different classes for semester in 9 weeks, and so we'll be finalizing those grades, and report cards will be posted next week. Been having department meetings, department head meetings, finalizing curriculum, the curriculum guide, and some of those amendments and changes to hopefully present to you later this month for the education committee, and then that way the board can approve that later, and we can start scheduling with our students, in the months of March and April. We have an in-service coming up in January. We also have a Canvas training scheduled for staff. That is the online cyber curriculum or platform, I should say, we're moving towards. And so we have a training scheduled for the 30th, which is our 2-hour early dismissal. And I've been working on this with Mr. Barker, so I appreciate his time in that as well. Tomorrow, some of our students will be having a shadowing opportunity up at the Vote Tech. Mrs. Martin, the guidance counselor, will be taking those students up there. And we just successfully completed the ASVAB testing with all the juniors and a few seniors this week as well in the auditorium. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Mr. Komar here? Oh, Mr. Komar. Sorry, I couldn't see you.
So I'd like to start out with student council created the banner and also the certificates that you all received tonight. I do want to say that student driven. I thank Ms. Mattis for starting that idea and putting that idea in their heads, and kind of said, hey, we want to do something for School Board Recognition Month, and the kids kind of rolled with it. And some good life skills certainly in that. They came and ran ideas past me, and just kind of peeling back some of those things that we don't think of doing, and we kind of do naturally. Like, it was kind of cool to have them kind of talk through some of those things. And what do you think about this? I'm like, it's your project. Like, that's a great idea. And then they had to coordinate the whole school coming and signing it. So great job by them. The student council members were Declan Altman, Erica Klein, Braden Hess, Kenley Rogers, and Haley Walker. So nice job with that. And they did say if you get a picture, the school board, if you get a picture with that, we'll get that posted. And that'll definitely be a cool thing for the school. So this Friday, we're going to do a hat and crazy hair day as a PBIS reward. They hit their next threshold. for that. So that'll be a fun day. Friday the 30th, so the end of the month, we have a 2-hour dismissal. I decided to do our second annual rock, paper, scissors, and root beer floats event. We did it last year. It was really a lot of fun. The kids, it was a social thing where the kids play a game in the gym of rock, paper, scissors, but it involves, jumping through hula hoops and stuff. So it's kind of engaging in the sense that they're doing something physical, but then a social event as well, and then they get a root beer float on that day too. So I already reached out to anybody that had aversions to, food allergies or do not want their child to have a root beer float. We have options of sugar-free root beer and ice cream, and if somebody doesn't want one, they can just still do the other fun participation things. PTA will be running Change Wars, I think, at the same time the high school is, the 2nd through the 6th of February. PTA was also having a winter dance on the 24th at the Marconi Club, 3 to 5 p.m. for the younger children and 6 to 8 for the older. So I'll be in attendance. So I'm sure it'll be a great time by all. And we had to put it on the schedule. It seems like a ways off, but April 9th, we will be doing kindergarten screening for the 26-27 school year. So that was just sent out to parents for incoming kindergarten students to sign up for time slots. So we'll start getting kids registered and going through the screening process, which, again, always preparing for next year. It's like Santa Claus preparing for the next year. So as far as some school pieces, we're currently doing our 2nd round of Firefly testing. We're going to complete that by the end of January. I want to do a 3rd round to be completed by the middle of March. And then we'll really have data to go off of and push forward at that end piece, and to have a final push before the PSSAs. Teachers are doing a great job during our collaboration time, working through curriculum issues, digging into data. And then on the special ed side, I have 16 IEP meetings scheduled for January. I had 2 GIEP meetings, 2 504 service agreements, and 4 students going through the MTSS process. Special ed plans on the agenda for tonight, put a lot of time into it, so take a look at that. Vote on that tonight to be posted on the website. That will be posted, has been posted for a minimum of 3 months. We'll be over that time, and then we'll put it for final submission in May. So, any questions for me? All right.
Well, thank you, the team on that special ed, you did a great job.
Thanks.
Still do run the meeting. Can't speak more highly of what we're doing with our special ed students. I think over the last few years of getting kids out of special ed work, so like set on that, really looking at new year needs early, and just going on that great job out with that special ed plan.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Barker.
Hey, good evening. I've got a brief update from the Information Technology Department. We are working on putting together some items for the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency grant that we were awarded, and coordinating 3 areas in particular that will be paid for by the Commonwealth grant funding. A batch of new security cameras to address some blind spots that we have in the district. Upgraded door access card readers for our electronic locks, and additional vape detectors and modified configuration of our current vape detectors for a couple of our bathrooms. So we're coordinating that with a few, getting bids out with some few local security companies for that. Desktop support, we thanks to my colleague Eric, found an excellent way to reuse some of our old computers. They're not that old, but they were the ones that were removed from our Creation Nation lab with Mrs. Shabandi. They were too slow for video production and the advanced video crunching and graphics design. But Eric found a way to install Windows 11 on those as a workaround, and they're perfectly fine for web browsing and daily light use. So that's a nice cost savings we have for the district. I've also done a few PC tune-ups to address some PCs that were slowing down. As Dr. Vargo mentioned, we've been working on standing up the Canvas learning management system that will be used for cyber education. So we got single sign-on, so people don't have to use a separate sign-on for that. Just go through their Google account, and we have the information coming over from PowerSchool that automatically populates our course. In terms of Chromebook insurance, we did increase by one subscription there. We're going to try to push that some more for incoming students. And we're going to have a focus on trying to get collections for some of these unpaid damages, which are, I think since we started the program, over $10,000 out there in unpaid damages. So we're going to try to go through a few other communication tools to try to get those up to speed. And then lastly, there are 3 items on your agenda relating to IT tonight. One is professional development for myself for the Pennsylvania Educational Technology Expo and Conference, that's known as PEC, February 1st or 4th. I'm actually presenting at that, so they waived the tuition fee, which is nice. Just a budget transfer within the department because we found we didn't have to spend as much on capital expenditures, so just redirecting that to a fees account. And then the third item is I was able to negotiate a reduction in our fee for Edleo, which is the company that we use to host and maintain Leechburg's public website. And so by doing that, we saved about $2,000 by the course of the contract by signing a 5-year, multi-year agreement. And Edleo is one of the best in the business when it comes to schools of this size. So excited for that savings. So any questions or anything?
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much.
I have one addition to, everybody has their own charger with a name on it.
Thank you.
More than welcome to take that home with you and work your magic with it.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Cericio.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few brief updates from the buildings and grounds. As we had previously mentioned in this meeting, the boiler replacement project, we're very close to wrapping that up. We're down to a handful of punch list items, which we should be wrapping up here next week. In addition to that, we have some final inspections scheduled for next Tuesday, which will allow us to commence on the closeout of that project. In addition to that, I'm also gathering some quotes on PM agreements for those boilers, the brand new boilers, and we also have 2 boilers that were installed in the Baker building a few years back. They're all the same manufacturer, same types of boilers. So I'm looking at getting some PM agreements in place for that, try to stay ahead of maintenance issues. Previously, we had delivery of a cooler to the kitchen. That was actually back in November. I'm not aware of any issues. That equipment appears to be working fine. Grounds, as I had mentioned in previous meetings, we'll have a large repair to be done on the turf at the football field. That won't fit into this year's budget nor this year's time frame weather-wise. So I'll be working with Jake here in the coming weeks to provide for that in next year's budget. We'll get that repair made. As was discussed in the first part of the meeting, lots of upcoming buildings and grounds items depending on which direction you folks decide to take us. The Buildings and Grounds Department will be there to support McClure and whatever project work you guys decide to move forward with. That's it, other than be working with Jake and Dr. Keebler here in the coming weeks on next year's budget, departmental budget. Do you have any questions for me?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and next, Ms. Grimplin.
Good evening. Mine's going to be short because I've only been here a few days. I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. I've been in food service for 18 years. I was at Kiski Prep for about 15 years, and I just recently came from Franklin Regional. In being in the kitchen for just a week or two, my priorities are going to be to get our breakfast counts up. I would like to introduce new menu items to the kids to keep it fresh. And we have discussed an open air cooler for grab and go items as well. Other than that, I'm still filling it out. So I'll have more for you the next time.
Just for a thank you and welcome you here, to that, I know it's crazy as we still have left right during that transition over from that. But thank you for seeing me on that, and everything with that, but welcome and appreciate what you
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. Thank you. Okay, under business reports, Mr. Chaplin.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. Getting into financial stuff, trying to keep it brief today. You guys got slaughtered with a lot of financial information already. So I'm just going to give some updates where we're at as a district. Starting off with our PD 363 update. So we had new state reforms that have led to changes in our tuition rate per student for cyber charter and charter students. Right now, we don't have any in brick and mortar, so I'm just going to highlight on our cyber charter tuition rates. Before the reform came through, our regular ed students were costing us $17,702.62. After the changes, we are now at $15,645.36. Special ed was $32,826.48. We're now at $29,569.73 per student. So not where we would love to be, obviously, but we'll take any cost savings we can get when it comes to the cyber charter tuition costs. We currently have 48 enrolled. It is estimated to cost $949,000 with these updated rates. We were facing them as $1.1 million with the original tuition rates. So we're looking at a $147,000 reduction in cost for that. Not where we want to be, obviously, but something's a little better than nothing. Okay, so attached for this month, as I stated last month, doubled up for financial reports. We have November and December financial reports for your review. Getting into the general fund cash, we were a little over $9 million at the December month end. Getting into real estate collections, we sit at $4,697,069, with a couple final deposits we received in January. We're currently sitting $248,000 below our revenue budget when it comes to a real estate collection for the year. I'll have a final collection number at the February meeting as the tax collectors are finalizing their final collection numbers for the year and the delinquents that are being rolled over to the counties. Speaking with Leechburg Borough's tax collector, she got her stuff submitted already. She's very happy, and I was as well with the Leechburg Borough collections. They trended in a great direction for this year compared to previous years. Looking at revenues as a whole, so far we've collected $9.4 million through December versus expenditures of $7.1 million. Digging into that a little bit for our expenditures, they're trending higher this year compared to year prior, largely in part due to the payments dispersed to McClure for the boiler projects that Matt has referenced. Getting into budget transfers, as Barker hit on, we reallocated some funds for technology to better suit his needs for our students and staff as a district. Softball uniforms for athletics. Previously, they allocated some funds in different sports. They needed to get moved to softball. And I made one myself to correctly reflect tuition payments made to the Westmoreland IU. It was under an incorrect object code. I just wanted to get that corrected so it's easy to deal with come AFR time. On for approval tonight is our Act 1 resolution. This resolution, it states that the district will not raise taxes for the 26-27 school year above the 5.1% index set by the state. In discussions with the state when it comes to our Act 1 index, as Dr. Keebler mentioned, we're hoping to meet to discuss taxes moving forward. I had that presentation in October. I'm going to need the board to give me guidance on which way we're looking to go between the A1 and A2 method. In that conversation with the state, it sounds like with the A2 method, if we do go that route, there could be some slight tweaks to our Act 1 index. I will follow up with Ben Half at the state when that decision's made on our level to see what route we need to go, to see what needs to be adjusted. Does anybody have any questions or comments for me tonight? I tried to keep it brief for you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
Greg. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, LEA President Report by Ms. Mondell. Oh, you're already there.
I'm moving fast for you guys. Good evening. Happy January. Happy 2026. Halfway through the roaring 20s, I suppose. First grade and second grade would like to say thank you to Mrs. Stewart for coming in and reading to them. It made their month and had some special Christmas guests. Coach Randy Walters also read to the first grade students, and they loved that. The teachers in the elementary would like me to share that if you are interested in coming in to being a guest reader, they would love to have you. Just reach out to the teachers. Second grade has also been busy learning their coins and counting different combinations of coins, which I guess is their way to get ready for the change course. First graders, I forgot to say, also had a special gift from their very own Secret Santa. So they were then able to practice their handwriting skills and send handwritten thank you notes to show their appreciation. Second graders are also learning about barn owls and dissecting owl pellets, which I guess is just a rite of passage for everybody. It's disgusting, but whatever. Prior to winter break, Mrs. Young's sixth grade math students programmed the Hummingbird robotics kits using SNAP programs to create winter or Christmas themed dioramas. They were able to light them up and make things move while also adding sound, which was very impressive. Last week, we had 5 students attend the PMEA District Chorus event. Those include Dean Sanders, Jillian Bortz, Riley Nelson, Mary Hostler, and Carson McDermott. Tomorrow, Miss Ondish is taking 2 students to the Ali Kiski Honors Band Festival at Lower Burrell or Burrell High School, and that includes Jillian Bortz again and Vivian Kennerdale. As Dr. Vargo mentioned, Mr. Hooks is gearing up for midterms, and everybody is so excited about that. But the seniors are gearing up for what I call scholarship season. So we recently reviewed 16 tips to make a great scholarship essay and 10 things not to do, and all about ways to get free money because everybody needs it and everybody wants it. That's all I have. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Mondell, I'm not sure who does this, but I just wanted to thank you all. I think it was the greatest thing in the world in December when we were coming to school. You had Elf on the Shelf.
Oh, yeah.
It was a live Elf on the Shelf, and he
Mr.
was on a
Davis.
sled, and he was greeting all the students, and the kids were just, I mean, it was like Disney World here in Disney.
Yeah,
in
even the
December,
high
so-
school kids were excited to see where the
Yeah.
Elf on the Shelf was popping up.
Yeah, it was really neat. He was on a sled on top of the hill. It was a very cool thing. So
Yeah.
everybody was excited. So
I'll
thank
pass
you.
that along. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Okay, under personnel, we have a retroactive approval for a resignation of employee 976. Any discussion? Good. Under 8.2, the 2025-26 athletic supplementals. Any discussion on that? And under 8.3, a change in title from to employee 917, school psychologist to school psychologist / special education coordinator. Any discussion there? Okay. Moving on to budget and finance. Under 9.1, financial reports. Any discussion there? And 9.2, budget transfers. Everyone good there? Under 9.3, 2026-2027 Act 1 resolution. Any discussion? 9.4, smart future estimate. Any discussion there?
Just add to that, we tabled that in December, I believe, November. This is the new career readiness software we use. I sat with both counselors, both principals, went through, and the Smart Future is really, it's a local company out of Pittsburgh that's using the state standards for what they're trying to do with it. and a lot of benefits that everything will be kept electronically, we won't throw them out. The transition pieces to it for some of our high school special ed students, especially some of our high school students, it will allow them to be learned at an elementary level wherever they may be at, but also coming towards the graduation requirements on it, which the others have done. So it's really nice on getting our kids exposed to some of those careers and getting them ready. It was pretty impressive with that. I'm hoping as we get it in, maybe do a quick presentation with it after the kids start using it. Once we approve the deal, we're gonna start using it in February so that we can get everybody third, fourth, and fifth grade with the requirements they need, so we don't have to use Zelda anymore. And it's also $2,000 cheaper moving forward as we use that.
Great.
It combines some of the software from the other programs into one,
Yes,
doesn't
they're
it?
able to use it going through. It's a little bit more user-friendly with it, and looking at it, it has a little bit more excitement for our kids compared to what Zoe was doing. Once we saw it, and we didn't have the communication across the whole building, no matter what we were doing, but once they saw it, it was pretty good. Kind of what we got from it.
Thank you. Wow. You got an applause. Yeah. Under 9.5, Adilio Agreement 2026 to 2031. Any discussion there? Okay.
What's that for?
That's our website host.
That's what that we talked about, okay.
And it goes through the whole IU uses it, especially this talking about today, with part of the agreement to come through. So thank you, for saving us some money on that one.
Yeah, thank you. Under field trip requests, I'll read them all, and if anyone has discussion, just stop me. 10.1, high school band students to Burl High School for the Alakiski Honors Band Festival, January 15th and 16th, 2026. 10.2, junior high chorus to West Shamokin High School for the Chorus Festival, February 3rd, 2026. And 10.3, the Quiz Bowl team to Valley High School for Quiz Bowl competition, March 17, 2026. Any discussion? Okay, under use of facility requests, again, I'll read them if you have discussion to stop me. 11.1, cheerleaders to the elementary gym Christmas party. This is a retroactive approval for December 16, 2025.
And they we talked about that when it wasn't running with the kids.
Yeah.
So this is that.
Yeah, absolutely. 11.2, junior high student council cafeteria to the middle school dance, February 20, 2026. Good. Under fundraising requests, 12.1, we have the senior high student council, the ticket sales for the snowball dance on January 22nd through February 7, 2026. All right, under professional development requests, we have 13.1, Jessica Manofsky, Improving School Performance Conference in Pittsburgh, January 26th through 28th, 2026. 13.2, Kristen Smith, Improving School Performance Conference in Pittsburgh, January 26th through the 28th, 2026. And 13.3, Eric Barker, Educational Technology Conference in Hershey, Pennsylvania, February 1 through 4, 2026. All right, moving on to legislative issues. 14.1, policy approval for policy 140.2, the reintegration incentive for returning cyber charter students. Any discussion there?
Dr. Kim, you just want to explain out what we're trying to do there again?
Yeah, so the goal of that is we're looking to give $500 every 9 weeks for anybody that would return from cyber charter. Really looking at that being a huge impact on our overall budget. Right now, it went from 400 to 600. Now we're up over $1 million. Thankfully, that little bit of work that was done, which is thankful that the legislature put in, dropped it a little bit. But honestly, having that much money coming out, and that many students not in our school, we want to get them here. And the luck that stood out, we had some students that have never been in our school that jumped into cyber. They were homeschooled, which is fine on that part, but they've never seen our building, that jumped right into a state cyber school. So my hope is that we can lure some of them back, give them an incentive to come see our school, and hopefully they'll fall in love with what we're doing here on that part of it.
And that would save us thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so if you think, I told you $15,000 per student for a regular ed, we get them back at $2,000 a year, we're net 13 students there. So there's great savings opportunities there if we can make it happen.
Yeah, no, thank you, that's excellent.
Good. Okay, Dr. Keebler.
I just want to start off with school board recognition and thank everybody for what you do here. And I think you already know, being on the board, it's a thankless job of the hours and the time it puts in for zero pay with that. But without the 9 of you on the board and the perspectives that come in, we wouldn't be able to do the great things that are going on within the school. So thank you and look forward to working with you as we move on. Just some updates we have, as Mr. Barker talked about the PCCD grant. It was granted to Leechburg for $112,000. The grant's due at the end of the month, so I'll be writing with it. We're working on the electronic openings for the doors so that the entire district's on the same openers on that electronically. We're looking at a couple gates so that when we have after-school activities, whether it's in the gym or in the auditorium, we have some gates in place, but we don't have all of them where we can lock hallways down. We had an issue with some of the performances. We caught kids up on the 4th and 5th floor running around on that part of it. So we're going to be able to close off areas so we know safety-wise nobody's out of the area. Some of the server updates for the cameras on that for those spots that are blind spots right now on there. And then any money left over, we will look to continue using our behavior coach that we had through Grade Point Resource. This would be for our next school year to try to continue those services with what's left on there. So as we get that written, I will get that as an update. We do have the school code changes that come out with the budget passing. Mr. Chaplin talked about the 363 and some of the cyber stuff. The other part that came on that went into effect January 6th is they put language in there about notification of any weapon that comes onto the school. Our superintendent's meeting this morning, we talked about this. This is something we've always done. If there's something unaware of the concern from the superintendents, and when this was passed in December, I emailed the Office of Safe Schools with no response to it. Nobody wants to take ownership in answering. But where my concern was is that we changed the policy since we have metal detectors, and we've changed that if a kid surrenders, if they forget they were at Boy Scouts the night before, they have a pocket and they give it to security before coming through, and they're not caught. We weren't giving them the 10 days and going through. It's still, we don't want them here, so we're still giving them 3 days. I want to make sure my feeling on this is whatever legislator put this in, they're trying to put the fear into public schools, trying to push people out of public schools. So I want to be very clear that if that happens and I have to notify the community, I want to make sure I promote that our system more clearly. We still had this on there. We'll identify it and let them know. If we ever find one or have a situation that we've had in the past, obviously if the kids, if there's any threat to them, we're going to notify them anyways, just like we have. They took some of the common sense out of what we were able to do with this law, but we will continue to go through it. But I just want to make sure that the board's aware that if our process that we put in place works, I want to make sure we will notify it was there, but also let them know the processes work. Since we've had that in place, we've been good. I mean, obviously, as I've always said, you can never be 1,000% sure, but I think we have a lot of pieces in place to keep the safety of our kids as a top priority. So that was one of the other changes with it. The other piece going into the cyber goes into the attendance. So starting November 1st and March 1st, the cyber charter schools are going to have to report to us the residency of our students. This is huge because I know right now we have a student who we're paying for in a cyber charter school who's living in Colorado, but I can't do anything about it because it's still coming back here. So the cyber charter schools are going to be put on the hook for being able to identify that. Nobody's given us an answer of how they're doing it yet, but I'm excited that some of the language will help us. The other piece of that language goes with our attendance policy. So some of these policies were updated in February as we adapt them to our district. But now if you have an attendance or a truancy problem with the school district, you've been identified on that, a truancy elimination plan's in place, the magistrates can block a kid pulling out for that reason and going inside the charter. That was one of my biggest gripes of any kid going there. We'd be working with families, kids not coming to school. You take them to the magistrate, they threaten them with a fine, and they just go enroll in a cyber charter school, and we don't see them again, and we're paying for it. So they won't be able to do that anymore. Talking with school today, it was great hearing from the superintendent Indiana area today. When they got the request for a student, they sent the attendance transcript to PA Cyber, and I will talk that cyber charter. They sent a letter to the family saying, you're not eligible for our cyber charter school. So that is a huge piece. that has really been impacting our kids going through. So I'm very thankful to our legislators for making that happen. Like I said, I do think, as I talked with Senator Pittman's office and Jeremy Diaz, they've made huge steps in the work they did. I still think we have more, but very thankful for those pieces that they put into the school code to help us out with that. Our Ready to Learn grant of $141,000 this year. The grant was just released. In the past, we've done class size reduction. Last year, we had about 16 or 18,000 that we put the cyber charter that was left over that teacher. We're going to move all of that money into cyber charters this year. It's just where we're balancing it, working with Mr. Chapla. We're hoping that the state, with some of the litigation we put out towards that other one, there may be room for them to help out our district in that category of it being in there. So moving forward, it's paying the same thing out of our general fund. Where we're putting that grant money will go to cyber charter with that increase moving forward into next year. Our tax equity, last year we had the $58,000 that we balanced out and it went to the West Leesburg project. This year we're getting $116,567,000, and we will put that into our budget. You'll see when Mr. Chapel makes it into debt reduction, so it'll be divided amongst the whole community on that part of it. It'll cut our overall budget down by that amount. That's one of the ways you can do it. It can go to seniors on that to go through, but looking at our budget and our debt on there, we can put that money towards our debt reduction, and that'll be in his budget as we present it moving forward with that. I do have, and I sent out to everybody, our committee review on there. If anybody wants to change, I can send this out again. I would like to get these committees filled. I'd like to have 3 board members on there. Right now I have budget and finance with Mr. Paulus, Mrs. Knight, and Mr. Leppish. I have the education committee with Mr. Leppish, Mr. Townsend, Mrs. Stewart. Extracurricular and athletics with Mr. Paulus, Mrs. Knight, and Mr. Lovelace. The facility technology was Mr. Leppish and Mr. Paulus. We will need another person on there. Personnel is Mr. Paulus, Ms. Stewart. Record management is Mr. Townsend and Mr. Lovelace, and policy review is Ms. Stewart and Mr. Paulus. So any of those part of it, what we had originally done is we scheduled them on there and having the meetings and going through. I think with my monthly or my weekly updates, we didn't need them all the time with that, but I do want to schedule at the end of January an education committee meeting so that the principals can present any of the updates for the handbook and any classes for next year, so we can put out the class selection for the high school students on that. And then also, I'd like to do a whole board meeting the first week of February, as we can agree to before the end of tonight's meeting. We have available the 2nd, 3rd, or the 5th. That Wednesday, we have a negotiations meeting already scheduled. But if it works for the board, and what we're going to do at that time is we will put it as a public notice. It will be in the auditorium, but we want to present those STEM options so the whole community can ask questions, be able to present that to them of what it looks like. This ties right back into our 2 presentations tonight with the facilities and the bond. If we're taking out money for a bond, we have to have an idea of how we're paying that bond back. So it's looking like we haven't had a tax increase since 17-18. I'm guaranteeing we're going to be asking one from our admin side, but we want to explain it to the public of what we're trying to do with that. We do think that with the plan Mr. Chapla came up with on the other part of how he can balance it out, and we can do a separate county millage as a school millage to try to balance out what was done. We'll present that first week of February in there so everybody can understand that. That'll help balance it out so it's not jumping up on one side and doubling up on that part of it. So those questions come out. Before we have that meeting, we'll send it out for questions and we'll make sure that the public's aware so we can answer those questions on that. I know I just threw a lot into there. I'm not going to ask that we have to do this tonight, but I'll send this email out in the morning again or tonight before I leave. If anybody just wants to email me back with any committees, if you don't want to be on it, just reply all that you don't want to be on that one. If you'd like to be added to one, let me know. Then we can go from there.
We want 3 on each
I would
committee?
prefer 3, yeah.
Yeah.
We have to keep it under 5 because we
Yeah.
can't have a majority of the board for it to be a committee meeting.
And at the meetings, are other board members allowed to go show up to the meetings if there's about 5 people? I
Up to
think
5,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
that's what they used to do before people showed up.
A little update on the church. I just spoke with the land bank this week. We sent the paperwork out. They do believe that the county will have the money through the land bank if the owner of the church will go through with the donation of it. So I'm hopeful. We sent the paperwork over to her. I talked to her on that part plan to set it up. The land bank was looking for our plan with that, and just to update everybody. my plan with the church, if we could get it donated to the land bank, they demolish it, we would then put another facility there to put an emotional support school there to bring some students in from outside. Looking, trying to be creative with our district. We don't have many ways to bring in revenue except for raising taxes. Our hope would be that would be a way to increase some revenue by helping out not only our students, but other students around there. Talking with Commissioner Shea, there may be a chance that the county has some money available to help out with that building and going through there. So we're going to hope to use the political side of getting as much funding from the state to put something in there as we progress through that. But that would ultimately be the plan. If we get to a place where we are able to get a building that we own on that part, we could even talk to some of the other facilities, such as a news story, and run it out to them for them to run it if we don't take it over. But as those plans go forward, and at least if we get it knocked down and we own the property, we can put a parking lot there if we need to on it. So having some plans with it, I'm just fearful that it's really starting to fall apart. Some bricks are getting loose on it. So we're hoping that this is at least getting it demolished. Then we can go through the next phases of what we can do with that property. As the high school, I'm talking with Dr. Vargo, we're going to meet with the special area teachers up at the maker space up in Creation Nation. Some of that equipment is starting to fail. It's 8, 9 years old with that. So we're just looking as we talk through the committees and the departments of what do we use. And a prime example, the middle school was using a 3D printer that they really couldn't use efficiently or effectively. They were just pulling an object, printing it, and looking at it. Whereas the older kids who were using CAD were creating the design and going through it. So what do we really want to do with that equipment before we put money into it? The printer that does the labels for the Camden machine is shot. It's going to be a significant increase, but we're looking at, they have a new one that has 8 heads on it. That's about $12,000, but we'd be replacing 8 of them, where the 2 that the one we have, there's a new one coming out for 23. So we're going to look at grants, look at budgeting some of that, and maybe go into the foundation to figure out what we want to do. But having a plan for how we're using that, right now it's only going for those labels. That's pretty expensive. Apart from the labels, it can do the signs. Really getting back to what that was created for, of making signs for the community, bringing some income in, just like the tumblers that were made for you guys for the appreciation. How do we use that for the community so that we're not only just paying to keep the upkeep of the equipment, not trying to make a ton of money, but the upkeep of what we're doing with that. Met today after our superintendent's meeting for the insurance trust. As we've been working with them, I think Rashini's done a nice job of really refocusing. I don't know that there was many questions being asked prior to me and Mr. Chaplin getting in there, that we may not be the favorites of the group right now, but we did start questioning why prices are where they're at and what we're doing. And the big concern with what we have is it doesn't matter what we spend. We had a 19% increase in our healthcare. We cannot sustain, we will not function with a 19% increase. So they have to adjust some things. And as I explained before, the consortium is not really even a consortium. There's 13 different plans. So I fought again today. The talk was the possibility of bringing new school districts in or partnering with Beaver County's trust with that. And I was okay with it. They're going to do some research on it. But I said, if we're letting Johnstown and a couple others out in Central and Cambria County are looking to join in, I said, we got to have some regulations of here's the minimum you have to have in your plan before we can let you in, because it still goes with what the costs are. Our association and the association was great in our negotiations. We eliminated GLP-1s, the generics, and that, but there's other districts who haven't done that yet. So those costs are still coming back, being spread out amongst us. So all that conversation going on is how do we get that down? We can't sustain 10 to 20% increases every year with what we're doing. So we're getting there. I do feel that there's some movement happening right now, and I will continue to annoy everybody in the group until we get the answers we need going through that. But I apologize for, I know there was a lot there. It was a bunch in there. Any questions on anything that I just went over?
With the charter schools, do they have to partake in state testing? Do they have to do anything with attainment with what they have?
They do, but there's no, even the one, the Commonwealth Charter that we put litigation against, they haven't had their charter renewed in 9 years. It's supposed to be every 5 years. They only have 4% of their kids passing those assessments with it. So they're supposed to do it, but there's no ramifications if they don't pass them or if they don't take them. A little bit different than what the cards were.
Yeah. No, apples to apples.
Good. Dr. Keebler, I hope you don't mind me speaking for a minute, but I wanted to thank you and Jake and many of you out there that coordinated efforts. I came in I just want everyone to know that you guys wear many hats. I came in last month at the Christmas party and I stopped into the office and you guys were providing help to families that needed it. And we're not talking toys, but we're talking basic needs. And I think that's a really exceptional thing. And you provide a lot of love to our students. So I know many of you out there have done it and coordinated. So I wanted to thank you because that's near and dear to my heart. So thank you very much for what you do every day. Moving on to, where are we at here? Oh, okay, board-related issues. Special Education Plan 2026 to 2029. Any discussion? And again, I'll read them off. If there is, just stop me. 16.2, 2026 Lenape Technical School JOC election of officers. And 16.3 Bond Council resolution. Any discussion there? Good. All right. Any public comment on non-agenda items? No? Okay. All right. Then I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Well, motion.
So moved.
Wait, what?
Motion.
Motion.
I second it.
All right. So the meeting is adjourned at exactly 8 p.m. Thank you. All right. We're going to go right in. Anybody need a break? Everybody good? Good. All right, so we will move right into the voting meeting here. I'm going to call to order the Leechburg Area School District regular board meeting following the Public Works Session agenda setting meeting at 6:30 p.m. Leechburg High School Library. Time is 8:01, and could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we please get a roll call? I didn't forget this.
Here. Mr. Brady.
Here.
Mrs. Knight.
Here.
Mr. Levin. Here. Mr. Lovett. Here. Mr. Paul.
Here.
Ms. Grant.
Here.
Ms. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Cowan.
Here.
Okay, any public comment on agenda items? No? Okay. Are you sure? Okay, a motion is needed to approve the meeting minutes for the month of December 2025 as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to accept the resignation of employee number 976, effective December 12th, 2025, a retroactive approval.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under athletic supplementals, a motion is needed to approve the following 2025-26 athletic supplementals as submitted, pending successful completion of all required paperwork and clearances. We have McKenna Pierce, varsity softball assistant, paid. William Pierce, varsity softball assistant, paid. Ed Krieger, varsity baseball assistant, paid. Bob Busey, varsity baseball assistant, paid. Is that Blake? I'm sorry. Blake Davis, track assistant, paid. Amy Tassone, track assistant, paid. and Nate Oz, track assistant paid.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, under 4.3, a motion is needed to approve the change in title for employee number 917 from school psychologist to school psychologist/special education coordinator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under financial reports, a motion is needed to acknowledge receipt of the following financial reports and to ratify, approve the expenditures expressly set forth therein. We have that of cash receipts, profit and loss statement, general fund expenditure, general fund revenue, 5-year real estate revenue, general fund balance report, student activity report, cash receipts list, treasurer's report, check detail reports, and financial dashboard.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under budget transfers, a motion is needed to approve the budget transfers for the month of December 2025 as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under 2026-27 Act 1 resolution, a motion is needed to approve the 2026-2027 Act 1 resolution as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Smart Futures estimate, a motion is needed to approve the Smart Future estimate as submitted.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under 5.5, Adelio Agreement 2026 to 2031, a motion is needed to approve the Adelio Agreement 2026 to 2031 as submitted.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under field trip request, a motion is needed to combine and approve field trip request 6.1 through 6.3 as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under facilities request, a motion is needed to combine and approve use of facilities request 7.1 through 7.2 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under fundraising request, a motion is needed to approve fundraising request 8.1 as submitted.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under professional development request, a motion is needed to combine and approve the professional development request 9.1 through 9.3 as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under legislative issues, a motion is needed to approve policy 140.2, the reintegration incentive for returning cyber charter students as submitted.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under board-related issues, a motion is needed to approve the Leechburg Area School District Special Education Plan 2026 to 2029 as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under election of officers, a motion is needed to authorize the board secretary to cast the Lenape Technical School, Armstrong County Area Vocational Technical School ballots for the 2026 JOC election of officers.
So moved. Comments, should we collect them or turn them in?
Yeah, we covered them.
Yeah, well, I after the meeting, just have it go out.
Ju-
Perfect.
Good, thanks.
Did I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Bond Council Resolution, a motion is needed to approve the Bond Council Resolution naming Michael McCaig, Raymond James, and Anthony Ditka, Dinsmore and Scholl LLP as bond counsel for the upcoming capital improvements.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Okay. Okay, we have Denise Griffith. Denise, when you come up, please state your name and municipality. Please limit to under 5 minutes, and please, no complaints on personnel. We'll be happy to hear that in private. Thank
So in December, I had went to a meeting. It was about this school property tax elimination act. That's what it's referring to. I didn't know if anybody had been up to date on that. They're talking about trying to pass it for the 26, 27 year. Yeah, I just didn't know if you guys had the information. That was the first thing. And sorry. It's basically to eliminate school district property taxes in PA, replace that revenue with higher sales tax and a local income tax to keep schools fully funded, shifting the tax burden away from property ownership. So I just didn't know if anybody had known about that. They went around, there was a meeting at the Catani about it. Yeah, but with that, like they are trying to like eliminate a bunch of schools and stuff like that. They said it'd be like 125 schools they're trying to eliminate in Pennsylvania to combine. And that's pretty much it on that one. Just so you all had it, that's all.
When was the meeting? I thought I saw it.
Yeah, it was like December, I think like December 11th, somewhere in there, December 10th, somewhere on there.
And it was at the game, you said?
Yeah, it was Shay and all them. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember who was all went. It was, yeah, Frank Ryan, Wendy Fink, and Don Kiefer that had done it. Yeah, they're trying to push it. The second thing, Jake kind of answered, and Dr. Keebler, but I was wondering about the STEP as well. I know one of the councilmen had said that, enough with dividing the school district on the basis of where you live, that type of situation. I was just wondering if this board plans to approve the formula from last year as a solution for the STEP problem. So it was going back to what pretty much Jake had said, so I didn't know if the thoughts, and Dr. Keebler, you had touched base with it too. So.
Yeah, we're gonna set a date here so that we can present that information to the public as well.
Early February, right? You said on
Yeah,
that?
like,
Okay.
yeah, first we go to the
Yeah.
second, third, or the fifth is available Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. We can make a decision here on that after, but yeah, that's what we'll do, present all that to the board, and answer the questions from the board for the public.
Okay, because I know, like I was, of course, reading online, but like I said, like one of the councilmen was talking about trying to get like the community together, and I'm like, so I'm just trying to figure out, is this more of like staying as a community thing, like he's trying to claim, or is it sticking more of like the board figuring out whatever, like as far as formula?
I'll speak for my side of the house.
Yes.
There are balances because obviously we just saw presentation tonight of what community are.
Correct.
In order to have any money, we have to raise taxes.
Yes.
And over the last 8 years, we haven't raised them, but it has. So we got to come up with a plan of how we utilize that out. I think that we have some steps to that on there, so we will present to them, so we can put that in
you know, dollar amounts related to the comments on, to the facts on here. Which, you know, when we talk about retirement income tax, and we talk about 2% local sales, are there dollar amounts that associate with that, like what the sales are in the area for the dollars that would be coming in?
I have, they were pushing on this, I'm not sure, and after once this goes through, we basically operate, we don't have a school district.
Yeah.
That's why we're one of the 125, I'm not sure where they went for that yet on that front. I do think there's other options to eliminate school taxes with that, to be able to do that. Just looking at how long it takes to take budget this year, I think state's up for I'm getting approved for that. But I do think it's a conversation when you have to do a number of, for example, I won't name any districts, but we have districts that are paying salaries that are exceeding $120,000 and that the state's on the hook for 7.5% of that, or part of what they're matching up to that, which is greater. There's no common level of that. So until they can level on what they're paying into it, we can never balance any of that stuff out. We're really looking internally, and that's where we're hoping that if we can present a plan that tries this back, I do think that looking at the numbers and the personal family over that, it'll keep all taxes back to about where we were at in 2017, 18. Obviously, it's not going to shy that sometimes it's going to come up since it went down over the last 8 years. But if we can keep everybody back where it's at right around there, and then have a tax increase, I think we can level the playing field moving forward with that. The plan they will present on that was it would create a separate millage for school taxes versus the county taxes to try to balance out using market values of those pieces.
Yes.
But then we'll go into great detail of what that looks like, comparison properties of what it will do with that, just trying to come up with a plan of how to survive in some of the times we see the costs.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to bring this to us.
You're welcome.
One of this meeting, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what I found interesting was they said if they would have passed it, actually, the school districts would actually have 1 billion more starting like this year. They would have, like, if it would have gone through. And like some of the stuff they were talking about was like sales tax would increase 2%, clothing would go 2%, because your credit cards, like, yeah, it's all zip codes. So like those taxes would actually come back to your county. So I mean, some of it was kind of like interesting. I know it's like so iffy, but.
And that goes back to some of the, my fear would be one Armstrong County, our sales are going to be over near Allegheny, and it's really going to find us and run us out of the game. What they're trying to do is force us to jump into the other county.
Well, no, like, so if like you were to buy a car, just say like in Butler County, because if you're using like anything with like your credit card, your whatever, yeah, it comes back, so it's nice. Yeah.
Just overall in Armstrong County, the world is
Yes.
there's no way we're going to spend what's left in the county.
Yeah, no.
Or Washington, like that. It'd be very disadvantageous to the smaller rural community, which is one of the fight back on it. I think it's a great plan. I think we need to figure out it. As I said, put it all in the bottom, divide out.
Right.
Yes.
So that every kid gets the same amount. That's the true fix to it.
Exactly.
Put all the monies into the state, you know, into one state fund and then distribute out.
Yeah, because and they had said like because someone had asked about like the delinquent tax and stuff like that would still be owed. Ironically, it's weird, like delinquent taxes remain, like we have 500 million per year is how much actually is owed in delinquent as far as like PA wide. I was like, I just thought that was kind of insane, you know. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Before we go to the next one, is there a day that works for the board? Tuesday the second, Wednesday the third,
What were those dates again?
the second, third,
Of February.
Tuesday, the first week.
I'm better on a Tuesday, Thursday.
Tuesday's better for me.
I can do either.
Monday and Thursday's for games.
I just have to work now.
Tuesday the second. Tuesday, third, yes, I'm sorry. Tuesday the third at 6:30, I will get it published now, and we'll get it into the newspaper. So if you want to do that, next will be Tuesday, February 3rd at 6:30.
Will it just be on that, or would it be a regular?
It's just going to be on that.
So it's not a formal board meeting, it's an informational.
It'll be an information, but be in there, there will be.
So we'll sit on the stage and, okay,
Okay.
all right.
All right, so the next board meeting will be, well, workshop, I guess, February 3rd, Tuesday at 6:30 PM in the auditorium. And the next combined public work session, regular board meeting will be at the Leechburg High School Library on Wednesday, February 11, 2026 at 6:30 PM. A motion is needed to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
You're right.
All right, meeting's adjourned at 8:20. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Good job. Angela, did you take our